Hey guys, welcome back. It's Biggs. Today we're going to be tackling some of the different questions that have come up into different forms on my emails, in my social media pages. I'm always getting inundated with all sorts of random queries and stuff. So today we're going to have some fun. We're going to answer some of those questions. Stay tuned. All right, guys, you pose the questions. Time for the Biggs to deliver. I got all sorts of random questions and stuff, so basically today we're going to tackle 7. Out of the 7, they're not in any necessarily order except for the last one. The last one's my absolute favorite one, and that's going to be at the end, so make sure you stay to the end to watch the last one. Okay, let's get started here. These are, as I said, these are random questions I get asked all the time. Doesn't matter where you are, social media, at a fish convention, anywhere. These things just pop up, so I thought maybe these are some things that need to be addressed in a video. Let's start with number 1. How many fish can I put in my aquarium? I don't know. How many fish can you put in your aquarium? It's going to depend on a couple of things. 1, are the fish alive? Fish are dead. Because if they're dead, you could stuff a lot in there. It's going to stink, but you could put a lot of them really in there. But if they're alive, then you got to look at all sorts of aspects. You know, how many gallons of water are we talking about? What is the actual mean temperature of that water? What is the oxygen potential of that water? There's lots of questions and stuff of which none of us can truly answer. So we got to look at that a little bit deeper. There's always that rule of thumb that people talk 1 inch of fish for every gallon of water. Yeah, it's a good rule to start by. It's a starting point, but that also means that those fish, you got to judge that by their full adult potential. So just because you go and buy a bag of 6 Parachromis dovii, the big giant wolf cichlid at the auction, doesn't mean you can put all 6 of them in a tank. Because 1, all of them could potentially, if they're males, turn out to be a 24-inch absolute monster. And I can tell you, if you have 6 of them in a bag and you start growing them up, you ain't going to end up with 6 24-inch monsters because they're going to kill each other down before they ever get to that point. So, honestly, for my intents and purposes, if we're dealing with fresh water, room temperature up to 80, 85 degrees, the 1 inch of fish per gallon of water is good. If we're dealing in cold water fish, which have a higher oxygen potential or higher oxygen requirements, such as goldfish and different types of cyprinids that come from cooler waters, some stuff from northern China, then you're going to want to keep that water a little bit cooler, which you can't do in a house unless you're going to buy a cooler or a chiller, but you can definitely put stocking loads a lot less and agitate the water a little bit more. But agitating the water so much by either an overflow or a filter or a spray bar, air stones, bubblers, honestly, it's not going to matter. As long as the surface of the water is moving, the oxygen potential will be as high as it can be at that temperature. So I know there's no real answer for that one. Sorry, I know you guys want a hot, skinny answer, but there isn't one. Sorry. Can this fish go with my other fish? How do people ask these questions? Yes. Perhaps briefly? Is that a good answer? Every fish has their own things. One of the species that you guys have seen videos I've done on is the tiger barb. It's a very, very favorite fish of mine. It's an old school fish. It's available in every pet trade, but it's also got a bad rap in the hobby because people keep it incorrectly. This is a species of fish that should be kept in a large school. You know, people going, have a 20-gallon tank and they buy 3 of them. Yeah, you're going to have a pecking order problem, and it's probably going to go down the chain and affect all the other inhabitants of that community. So understanding, can fish go with fish, it's going to take a lot more research. So if you are going to pose those type of questions, you got to give us a lot more information to go with. Is it true, Biggs, that fish only grow to the size of their aquarium? I don't know. We got 50-50. We got yes or we got no. I'm going to go with yes. Because if they exceed the size of the aquarium, the environment will no longer be able to sustain them and they will die. It's a little grim, Biggs, for today's video, but that's the truth of it. Fish will not only, if given the proper environments, given the proper food and water parameters and so forth, fish will continue to grow to their full potential. And it's your job, our job as an aquarist, is to provide the proper environment for them. So that all comes with education and reading and play. There's another gem of mine. Can I raise the pH? Or how can I raise the pH? There's all sorts of ways you can raise the pH. My absolute favorite, though, is just add more hydrogen. Most people have no concept of background chemistry when it comes to dealing with an aquarium. But you give them an aquarium water test kit, and all of a sudden they're a full-blown chemist. They don't have no idea what's happening behind the scenes, what's going on in those little vials. I just know that I put my water up to this line, and I had 4 drops of this one and 3 drops of this one, and I wait, I give it a shake, and then I compare it to a color chart, and that tells me what I need to know. But pH is actually derived from a Latin word which stands for pondus hydrogeni, or potential for hydrogen. So literally, if you want to raise your pH, just increase the hydrogen. I'm so helpful. I know, you guys are jealous. Biggs, how much water conditioner do I add? What is the, how much do I add? I don't know. Have you read the label? I know most of us don't like to read books anymore. I still have lots of books. I've read each one of these books. I enjoy books, but I know most of us just want to get that quick and easy and quick and dirty off the internet and get the information we need. Sorry, when it comes to something like that, if I'm going to be dosing chemicals in my environment for the inhabitants that are entrusted to me for their life, I think I can read the label. Basically, all water conditioners are based off of one product, and it's sodium thiosulfate. That was a tough one for you, Biggs. Is it a little bit early in the morning? No, but sodium thiosulfate, sodium being a salt, theo meaning 3, and it's a sulfate. So basically, that is the basis for all water conditioners. Dechlorinator might be the better word. To add, other products have to be added if we're going to be tackling things such as chloramine. Other things have to be added if we want to have that slime coat type properties using things like aloe vera and stuff like that. And there's lots of exceptional water conditioners out in the marketplace. So read the labels, please. That's that one. Next one, we're going to move directly into number 6. And number 6 is one of my favorites, is chloramine versus chlorine. Can I just let my water sit? No. You shouldn't be doing that with either. So just stop that whole old school practice. Back in the day when they did this, because they didn't know any better. We know better now, and we don't. Educate yourself. Okay? So when it comes to chlorine is a gas. It's basically like bleach, right? Chlorine will dissipate. Chlorine, if left in a pail of water, the chlorine is a gas and it will dissipate out of the water column, and then the water theoretically could be safe to use without any harmful effects. However, the oxygen potential of that water is also completely depleted as well. So, I know, is the water stale? We want to call it stale, I don't know, but it's not the best. I'm sure we could do better. Now, however, chloramine is a whole different animal altogether. That is an actual chemical as that is added to the water. Now, a lot of cities have gone to chloramine, and that is the absolute critical thing. No matter where you live, you need to know what is added to your water. So I live out in the country. I have a well, and I live pretty far out in the country, so I know my well is just coming from an aquifer 300 feet below the surface. I don't have to contend with any of that stuff. However, if you do have chloramine, you will not be able to remove chloramine short of using a product that states that it will remove chloramine. Again, read the label and follow the dosage to be able to take care of chloramine. You cannot break the chloramine bond by simply just leaving it out. Another important factor about chloramine is chloramine, when you do use a chemical product to break the chloramine bond, it releases stray radical ammonia into the water column. So you want to buy a water conditioner that not only states that it will take care of chloramine, chlorine as well usually, chloramine, but also that it will also remove toxic ammonia, because you're going to be releasing ammonia every single time you do a water change. Now, if you didn't know that, you're going to be doing that with a cheaper water conditioner. You're going to be having these up and down swings in your water parameters, and that's going to cause all sorts of stress to the fish in your tank. Okay? Next up, Biggs, how much water do I change on my aquarium and how often? It's not an easy answer. Everyone thinks it's an easy answer, and I know everybody wants an easy answer. I remember even at the pet store I worked at when I was younger, we actually sold water change pails that had graduations on them, and it would say for this size tank you want to do this size of a water change. Well, I'm very much a strong advocate of automatic water changing systems. I've had that in almost every one of my modern fish rooms over the years. However, at this place, when we lived out in the country and we lived with well water, I have not done an automatic water change system that's been complete. Now, you guys know that the two big 160s that I was standing in front of for the intro, the two 160s are on a semi-automatic water change system. I took it off the fully automatic system just because I wasn't here all the time, the stocking loads are light, and I had that one problem at the beginning. So what I do is I have it's got a manual shut off. So I come down and do it right now. We're home a lot, so I can take care of it. But the only other difference difference is the water itself, my well water, is not working really good for the fish that are in it. They're living. I wouldn't say they're thriving. They're growing. They're eating. They just do not breed. So there's going to be some sort of micro metal or something in that water that is badgering them, and they will not spawn successfully. And I haven't figured it out yet, and honestly, I just haven't had the time. We're doing massive changes. As you guys saw the video that came out earlier last week, we're doing some massive changes in the room. I think we're honestly just going to put everything onto a full RO cycle, and then we can make our own water. But RO water, reverse osmosis water, is a subject for another video down the road. And the last and final question, the one that drives me absolutely insane, and if you guys pose this question, or more importantly, if you answer this question for people when they ask it on social media, just stop. Because the information that people are giving on this one here is absolutely dreadful. Not only is it dreadful, sometimes the answers are actually dangerous. They can have absolute catastrophic results if they're not done properly. And the problem being is we just take the word of a complete stranger online, just like you guys are doing right now. So the question, the last one, and my absolute favorite one is, I found some rocks on my camping trip and a piece of wood at the beach. Can I put them in my aquarium? Or how do I do that? How do I put them in my aquarium? All right, this one here, Biggs is going to take a take on this one because I see this come up in social media probably weekly, and it just makes me cringe every single time. Okay, stop boiling rocks. Stop putting rocks in ovens. One, if you're not a full-fledged geologist and you do not know what type of rock you are dealing with, you could be creating literally an absolute bomb within your house. I'm not joking. Rocks can fracture. They can explode from within with pressure. Trust me, if you don't want to risk that rock you found at the beach while camping, it's just not worth the effort. Oh, honey, I blew up the kitchen with a rock. Maybe you hurt somebody, right? Driftwood's the same thing. Driftwood, I find driftwood for every big tank. I go and comb the beaches. I go comb the rivers in the spring after they've moved all that debris up, and I pull it all out. I put them on my driveway. The sun is probably the absolute best natural sterilizer. Just sit them out in your sun somewhere. If you can raise them off the ground so that they can really dry out really, really well and let the sun just kind of completely do its job, it's really, really good. Move them around, change the position. If they sit on the ground, you run the risk of other critters coming into them and so forth. And I have another video that's going to be coming out on some of the tales of the Mad Aquarist, and there's a big one about the driftwood that the people have seen me speak know full well about what I'm talking about, but it's an absolute treat for you. So we'll get that one in a different video down the road. But honestly, I've done the sun, and if you have a pressure washer that is just used for water, not something, I wouldn't take it to a car wash that's using any sort of soap or anything like that, because you're going to force that soap right into it. A garden hose works good if you can get the pressure up enough with a good type of nozzle. But honestly, all you're doing there is you're loosening all the loose debris off the edge and cleaning it. That's the best you're going to do. That's all you're going to need to do. Unless you live in Brazil and you're keeping Brazilian fish and you're worried about this. But the stuff that we're going to be introducing from other areas, it's borderline irrelevant. Now, when I get back to the rocks, people say, well, this rock is calciferous. This rock will change my water chemistry. That's why you're asking the question. That's true. Vinegar, acetic acid, is not going to probably give you the result you're hoping for that's going to be able to tell you if that is thing. You're going to need a much stronger acid to be able to give you a reaction to let you know if that water, and that doesn't necessarily mean that rock is unsafe for your fish. That means it's unsafe for fish that would not inhabit calciferous type waterways or water that is generally harder, such as African cichlids or a lot of the Mexican, Central American stuff, live bears and cichlids and so forth from there. There are a lot more harder waters in the world than there are softer waters, but anything that's softer water, like the Amazonian stuff, the Congo stuff, a lot of those things, yeah, anything that's calciferous is not going to be helpful for them. So you give you a stronger acid. I'd heard of people using one of the agents of their nitrite test kit or something, and I don't know anything about that. I've never done it myself, so I'm not going to really comment on it. I just wonder if you're going to use up all your reagent number 2 or 3, what are you going to do when you need to use your test kit? Can you just order the one? I don't even know. And I find it hard that some of those chemicals would be, those harsh chemicals would be in those test kits, just used and sold off the shelf at the pet store. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I have no problem being wrong. But one thing that I have used in the past is sold in home places that deal with swimming pools is a product known as muriatic acid. It's a very caustic acid. It's not dangerous enough for you unless you inhale it and work with it that way. But if you took a pipette and put a couple of drops on a rock, you will definitely get a reaction if that rock has ancillary calciferous quantities to it whatsoever. So there you have it. Big's had some fun, answered some of your questions. May not be the answers that you wanted, but I had some fun with it. Keep them coming, guys. Till next time, stay safe. Cheers.